Good morning, welcome. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church in New Bedford. My name is Jorge Pereira, and I'm a member of this church. We are a beloved community of people who believe that everyone is worthy of respect. Science is real. The democratic process is a sacred thing. That we are all part of an interconnected web, and that the light and energy we share and put out makes a difference in the world. We are people of purpose, and if what you hear today resonates with you, we hope you'll consider becoming part of this way-called family of seekers and keepers of this long dream that is our church. First Unitarian in New Bedford recognizes that the land we inhabit and enjoy sits on the unceded ancestral land of the Wampanoag, the people of the First Light. We actively commit ourselves to the process of working to dismantle the legacy of colonialism and oppression of our country's native people and all who have been marginalized. Before we get started, what I'd like to say is, why Emerson? Well, Emerson was born on May 25th, 1803, 223 years ago tomorrow. He has a very strong connection to this church. Self-reliance is one of his major essays. It was part of the first book that he published of essays. The strong connection is he was a very good friend of Mary Roach. Mary Roach was a Quaker that was expelled, excommunicated from the Friends Meeting House, came here and joined our church. That's his bust. He prayed and worshipped and preached in this church. And he was also a very good friend of Margaret Fuller, who probably sat somewhere in one of the pews of this church at one time or another with Mary. They called Mary Auntie Mary. So there's a very strong connection between this church and Emerson and the people from Concord. So that's why Emerson. So, to get us started, we'll light the chalice. A little louder? Slower. Thank you very much. That's great. My friend Maggie, who used to sit over there, used to say, George, write down slow, slow. That's good. Thank you. We light this chalice not for certainty, but for clarity, for the quiet voice within us that is so often overruled by expectation, by habit, by fear. May this flame remind us to trust what is deepest and truest in us, even when it is difficult, even when we stand alone. Let us gather in the spirit of honesty, not to become someone else, but to return to the ground of our own being, in a world that asks us constantly to adjust, to agree, to conform. May we pause long enough to hear something quieter, the voice that does not insist, but persists. May we have the courage to listen and the courage to follow. Our opening hymn is 114, Forward Through the Ages. Please stand if you are able to. before we greet one another, just a couple of reminders for housekeeping. If you are new, please sign the blue card that is on the pews. Join us for coffee hour in the Paris House after the service. And we are live streaming, so subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is what I do, because sometimes they don't let me out even for good behavior. No, just kidding. And please put your phones on worship mode. And the other thing is, there's a lot of announcements in here, so read it through and make sure that you follow them and see what they say. And now take a moment to greet one another. Please remain standing for the reading of our covenant. Let's read it together. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mari. I'm one of the Sunday school teachers. Today, the children, we're going to be talking about building bridges over walls. And this is inspired by two things. One, I don't know if anybody heard, but the bridge going over Route 18 in New Bedford won an international award, which is very cool. And then also the policies happening right now in the government, which are trying to separate people. So we talk about how we as Unitarians prefer to unite. Bridges, so I'm going to read a poem today instead of a book, sorry. Bridges and walls. Walls keep people away. Walls keep nation away. Walls of brick and mortar. Walls of hatred and ego. Break the wall, build bridge across the river, across the nations. Build the bridge in the sky. Rainbow it is, colorful, and it is temporary. God's own creation joins the world's horizon to horizon. Bridge of friendship, of hope and care, unique in nature, walk from ends towards each other, meet in the center, smile, shake hand, and say, how do you do? And I think I'm probably going to say his name wrong, but his name was Jayothi Baigawat. So, thank you.
Love be a guide in all I do. May kindness sing within my heart. May peace be with us while forever heart. This is the time in our service where we light candles of joys and concerns. Please come up if you would like to light one. Thank you.
Well, happy anniversary, George.
Thank you.
How long you and David together?
35.
35 years. Come on.
Well, for me, this past month has been super busy. It's like prom season and graduation season and stuff. So I work for like a lighting and sound company. So we've had so many gigs, and it felt like everything was happening at once. But finally, like the last of the gauntlet is over. We just did a thing at like Taper Academy and stuff, and that was kind of like the last major, graduation that at least I've been assigned. And it just feels like, oh my God, the big thing is done. And before all the Pride stuff, before all of that stuff happens in a couple weeks in June, it feels like I can finally get at least like an intermission between two very heavy seasons. So I'm just, here to enjoy the day for whatever it has today.
Today is also Randy's last service of the year. He will be back next year, don't fret. But we always really miss him. June is like the longest month in this church, I swear to God. We're going to miss you, Randy. Can't wait to see you back. Well, you are. You are. We love you and we miss you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Annie, and I always want to say it's so wonderful to see a couple new people join us with Being Human on Friday mornings at 11 a.m. And to see the people that come every week. And we'd love to have you join us to celebrate, cry about, share what it's like to be human during these times.
I'm Judy, or Judith, and I just want to say how much I've appreciated the music all year from Randy. So much. Music is enormously important, I think, to all of us, but especially to me, maybe. And it's just been of enormous value. And I also want to say that I really appreciate having a community to go to and just feel seen and recognized and be able to contribute something, and it's very, very important. So thank you all.
Love having you here, Judy. Come on, David.
Good morning, everyone. So as you all may know or may not know, I've been very grateful and honored to be the committee chair for interim for outreach for the past year and a half, 2 years. And last week we had a meeting for fundraising events and outreach, and I'm very thankful and also grateful for Anna, who has stepped up, and she's going to be the committee chair for this new committee. And so from now and before the end of the fiscal year, her and I and Jess, our administrator, will be meeting to transition just what I've been doing over the past year and a half as the interim outreach. It's been great, it's been awesome, so thank you all. And I just wanted to make an announcement before you see it in the newsletter. That's what's going to be officially announced, but that's it. Thank you.
Every time. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Every time I come here and I stand up there, I stand up here, I look at these pews. I look at these pews. Yeah, I look at these pews and I see all the people that sat here before me, before us. Tomorrow is Memorial Day. Let's remember them, their legacy, what they left. The Van Voorers, Mary, Maggie Purse, Bob Piper, So many of them. Nancy Crosby, yeah, right there, usually. And so there was a lot. We owe a lot to them, so let's remember them.
Thanks, George. I lit 2 candles. This is our practice here, one for all the joys and the sorrows we keep in our hearts, and one for everyone out there who is yet to find a safe and loving community to share their joys and sorrows in.
I invite you now into a brief time of reflection and meditation. Take a slow breath and another. Notice the noise that surrounds so much of our lives: expectation, comparison, the pressure to become what others need us to be. Beneath that noise, listen for something quieter. The voice Emerson trusted. The voice that speaks not in certainty, but in honesty. Ask yourself gently, what does it mean to me to live more honestly from within? And may we remember, in the silence that follows, that we do not walk this path alone. We will now welcome new members, and I'll pass that on to Karen.
Easier for me to read. Oh, my friends, membership in a spiritual community means sharing yourself with others as yourself grows and changes. It means supporting each other in our individual and collective pursuit of truth. And here it means being keepers of a very long dream. Here in this church, human beings have gathered for centuries, seeking a higher purpose and deeper life than they could find alone. So as we have done happily over and over again, we welcome our new members today. The relationships we form in our church are based on the needs of the soul, needs that render each of us vulnerable and therefore reliant on each other's grace and goodness and generosity of spirit. As members of this church, we pledge to inspire each other to greater service, to value each other's lived experiences, and to listen to each other with respect. We are keepers of this long dream of liberal religious community, a tolerant and supportive environment in which we can share our joys and concerns, where people will laugh and cry with us, and where we never need be alone in our grief or our delight. As members, we also take on the role of being stewards of this beautiful building, and we become part of an inner city community, giving of our time, talent, and treasure. Part of the beauty of this long dream we keep is that it isn't a dream that is just in our hearts and minds. Our history is manifest all around us. And I don't know about you, but I feel so much a part of this long line of keepers of this place. I can also look out and see all these people that I have seen sitting here, because I've been a member here for 30 years. I can feel the past, and I relish the present, and I also feel the future stretching out before us, the keepers to come. And if I've come to understand anything from my own 30 years in this congregation, it's that what we do here is really important. And every member who becomes involved takes part in shaping that future, as well as carrying the best parts of our history forward. So in that spirit, I will call the new members forward. Let me go down. Jess Smith is one of them, but I don't see Jess Smith. She must be ill because she has literally been here every week without fail for like a year. Jess Smith is one of our members. Daniel Everton, come on down. Kate Crosby and Eric Kilburn. Rachael Balch, Anna Gerber, Stephen McIntyre. And was there anyone else? Jean, did you say you wanted to join?
Yes, I'm not official, but yes, I do.
If you would, we will make it official today, and you can come up and receive a parting gift. All right, everybody. Come out here a little bit so I can see y'all. We welcome you all. We are grateful today for each one of you, that you have found your way here and that you have decided to make a commitment to this community. We hope that as members of this church, you will allow yourselves to be known and to know each other and us, to minister and be ministered to love and be loved by this congregation. Therefore, new members, We are glad you have chosen this community of fellow seekers to travel with on your life's journeys. Will you accept our gifts of fellowship, discovery, and service? Will you offer us your unique presence and gifts? Will you add your name to the long history of Unitarian Universalist people who spread hope with our living faith? Will you engage with us as we seek to create beloved community and a world dedicated to peace, love, and justice? Well, you, congregation, hi. Will you welcome these new members with the warmth and comfort of your fellowship? Will you seek to add your strengths and talents to the new gifts they bring to us? Will you share our triumphs and our struggles as our community grows and changes?
Yes, we do.
Outstanding. Then with the blessings of this congregation and all the ancestors of this church, I officially welcome you into this community of caring and trust. I'm going to come give you each a hug, and you get a door prize.
Please stand if you are able to for our next hymn, Spirit of Life 123, on the gray hymnal.
Heart
have a couple of readings. The first one is by Emerson, and it's a couple of paragraphs, very short. I think it's 3 from the Self-Reliance Essay. And then I have a poem by Stanley Kunitz called The Layers. So Emerson wrote, "Trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. Accept the place the divine providence has found for you, the society of your contemporaries, the connection of events. Great men have always done so and confided themselves childlike to the genius of their age, betraying their perception that the absolutely trustworthy was seated at their heart, working through their hands, predominating in all their being. Whoso would be a man must be a nonconformist. He who would gather immortal palms must not be hindered by the name of goodness, but must explore if it be goodness. Nothing is at last sacred but the integrity of your own mind. Absolve you to yourself, and you shall have the suffrage of the world." A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, adored by little statesmen and philosophers and divines. With consistency, a great soul has simply nothing to do. He may as well concern himself with his shadow on the wall. Speak what you think now in hard words, and tomorrow speak what tomorrow thinks in hard words again, though it contradict everything you said today. Ah, so you shall be sure to be misunderstood. Is it so bad then to be misunderstood? To be great is to be misunderstood. And Stanley Kunitz said, "I have walked through many lives, some of them my own, and I am not who I was, though some principle of being abides which I struggle not to stray. Then I look behind, as I am compelled to look before I can get the strength to proceed on my journey. I see the milestones dwindling toward the horizon and the slow fires trailing from the abandoned campsites, over which scavenger and angels wheel on heavy wings. Oh, I have made myself a tribe out of my true affections, and my tribe is scattered. How shall the heart be reconciled to each feast of losses? In a rising wind, the manic dust of my friends, those who fell along the way, bitterly stings my face. Yet I turn, exulting somewhat with my will intact to go, wherever I need to go, and every stone on the road precious to me. In my darkest night, when the moon was covered, and I roamed through wreckage, a nimbus-clouded voice directed me. Live in the layers, not in the little, though I lack the art to decipher it. No doubt the next chapter in my book of transformations is already written. I am not done with my changes. And now it's the time that we usually take the offering for the works of this congregation. As we go into this, and you listen to the music, I think the music is very appropriate. Randy picked it beautifully. Think about for a moment. Does Emerson still speak to us? The pressure to conform, to compare ourselves, to measure our lives by expectations of others. If anything, those pressures have only intensified. So when it tells us to trust thyself, it does not feel distant. It feels necessary. Perhaps Emerson's relevance today is not that he gives us final answers, but that he gives us a starting point to trust the inner life while remaining responsible to one another. In 1841, Emerson published Self-Reliance, an essay that would become one of the defining texts of American thought, and in many ways a defining expression of our Unitarian spiritual inheritance. At that time, American culture was still looked outward to Europe, to tradition, to establish authority for its ideas and values. Emerson actually challenged that instinct. He suggested that truth is not something we inherit fully formed, but something we encounter through experience, and something we must test within ourselves. His call to trust thyself was not meant as encouragement toward isolation or certainty, but towards integrity. The courage to live in alignment with what we honestly perceive to be true. That challenge remains with us. In a world shaped by expectation, opinion, and constant comparison, the question Emerson raises is still a difficult one. How do we trust our own voice while still remaining open to others and responsible to the communities we belong to? There is a tension in the heart of every life, the tension between who we are and who we are expected to be. It begins early. We learn how to behave, what to say, what not to say, what is acceptable, what is admired. And slowly, almost without noticing, we begin to measure ourselves against something outside of us. It is into this tension that Emerson speaks, trust thyself. And what is worth remembering, especially here, in that Emerson spoke these words not from outside religion, but from within it, from a Unitarian pulpit. And in many ways, Emerson did not live Unitarianism, or did not leave Unitarianism. He extended it, trust thyself. It sounds very simple. It is not. Because to trust oneself is to risk standing apart. I went back to the Azores in March. I was thinking about this recently when I returned to that place where I was born, that small island, that small town on an isolated island in the North Atlantic, where everything once felt known and everything at its place. But what struck me the most was not what had changed, but what was remained. The rhythm of people who still knew one another, the memory carried in ordinary gestures, the quiet dignity of lives that had not needed to explain themselves to anyone else. And I wondered, when I left that place, who did I become? I arrived in the United States many years ago, and very little certainty about what my life would become. There were no clear instructions, no shared script, only decisions, small at first, then larger ones, that slowly formed life. And now I realize self-reliance in that moment was not a philosophy. It was a condition. There were times when I could not rely on recognition, on familiarity, or the quiet agreement of others. I had to rely on something less visible, on judgment, on instinct, on a sense, sometimes fragile, of what felt true. And like many who begin again in a new place, I learned that becoming is not a single act. It is actually a series of adjustments. Some we chose, some are necessary. some made before you even realize you are actually changing. This is where Emerson meets us, because he reminds us conformity is powerful. Not because it's imposed, but because it is internalized. We begin to adjust ourselves before anyone asks us to. Well, Unitarianism resists that distance. At its best, it says, you are not here to conform. You are here to become. But becoming requires courage. And here's where Emerson deepens this inheritance, this Unitarian inheritance. It reminds us that the authority we are given is not comfortable. It is demanding, because it asks us to listen inwardly with a great level of honesty, a great deal of honesty. But let us also say this very clearly. Self-reliance is not isolation. It is not the rejection of community. It is the grounding of community in truth. Because a community built on conformity is fragile. But a community built on honesty, even when it is diverse, even when it is unsettled, is alive. Trusting oneself can be lonely. Oh yeah. And yet, there is also a quiet peace in it. And that actually feels good sometimes. The peace of not performing. The peace of living, finally, in one's own voice. So perhaps the question Emerson leaves us with, and the question this tradition continues to ask, is not, am I right? But maybe what he's asking is, am I honest? Am I living from within? Do I trust thyself? Not because it is easy, but because it is the work we have inherited. Not louder, not stronger, just truer. Amen. Our closing hymn, it's probably the most Unitarian hymn in that book. It's 187. It sounds along the ages. Please stand if you are able to.
And
before I close, I do want to thank Karen for allowing me to take over the pulpit today. And this quest crazy Unitarian and transcendentalism people, and Randy for always picking the right music. Thank you. Go into the world, not as you are expected to be, but as who you are becoming. Trust what is steady within you. And remember, you do not need to be louder or stronger or more certain than you are. Only more honest. Go in courage. Go in integrity. Go as yourself. Thank you.